Over the Garden Wall. I love this show. It's one of my most favorite animated series of all times. Hell, it's one of my most favorite shows in general. My desktop background right now is Over the Garden Wall. Which is why I was so excited to learn that Over the Garden Wall is being nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Animated Program, alongside other great works of animations. Simpsons, go home. You've had enough Emmys. The story of two brothers on a journey home through a land known only as the unknown. I could go on for days as to why I love this series. From the breathtaking visuals such as the backgrounds, or how the music and lighting always conveys the perfect atmosphere, or the way you grow attached and emotionally invested in the characters. Even characters that appear for only one episode, you care what happens to them in that one episode. The show received overwhelming critical acclaim upon its initial release nearly a year ago, and it's recently recaptured attention due to the Emmy nomination. As well as the Emmy nomination, Over the Garden Wall finally got a DVD release on the 8th of September of this year, as well as having launched a 4-issue mini comic book series, where the first issue released last month on August 20th. The store Mondo Tees will even be selling a tape called For Sarah, like the one from the show, next month. Yet despite all this recognition and praise, and just the general quality of the show...
We need money.
You're scamming him?
I was thinking more like flat out stealing from him.
What? No way.
Why not? We already stole a horse.
Hey, guys.
No, we didn't. Fred's a talking horse. He can do whatever he wants.
I want to steal.
I rarely ever find any mention of the show online or in public. Personal story time, on my first day of college I wore an Over the Garden Wall / Gravity Falls t-shirts in hopes of finding some friends or perhaps someone who may also be fans of either show. No one seemed to notice, and a few days later I wore a Steven Universe shirt and had about 4 to 5 people come up and talk to me about the show. I just can't believe so little people know about Over the Garden Wall. I like Steven Universe. I make a parody series out of it, but in my opinion, Over the Garden Wall blows Steven Universe out of the water. Doesn't hold a candle next to Patrick McHale's masterpiece of a miniseries. Only recently have I seen the show get any sort of attention since its original release. I really wish more people knew about this miniseries, simply because I think it's that good and definitely worth watching. And with the Emmy nomination, I felt it was a good time to push the series onto anyone who hasn't watched it yet, as well as give my own take as to why there's usually so little mention of this series. When Over the Garden Wall first aired from November 3rd through November 7th, 2014, the average view count per episode was over 1 million views, thanks to how much Cartoon Network hyped up the release, as well as how the release schedule was formatted. 2 episodes a night for that entire week. If you watched Cartoon Network at any point during the week, there would always be a timer counting down until the next episode. But once we finally reached the end of Over the Garden Wall, it was back to the regular schedule, which is understandable. The series was over and CN needed the time slot back for its other shows, its active shows. Over the Garden Wall was a mini-series. It was 10 episodes long, and each episode was around 11 minutes. The series was complete. There wasn't going to be any new episodes. I previously stated that the average view count per episode upon its release was over 1 million per 10 episodes. But that doesn't mean 10 million people watched the series. Most likely it was the same 1 million people watching every episode each night. And I think that's a good explanation as to why so few people have heard about Over the Garden Wall compared to other shows. Over the Garden Wall debuted once and hasn't been on air since. There was an encore presentation shortly following the initial release, but there's been no re-release of the entire series to my knowledge. People can still watch it online or get the DVD release, but the only people who would do that would be people that know Over the Garden Wall exists, or had someone recommend it to them. Over the Garden Wall had a week window to gain an audience, and even then, for people who missed the first episode, that may have been a lost viewer. But shows that actively air, whether new episodes or reruns, have an almost unlimited window to gain new viewers, even if they have an episodic plot, because there are always reruns or they can decide to watch previous episodes online. Couldn't Cartoon Network just randomly air Over the Garden Wall episodes throughout its schedule? Well, to truly appreciate the series, you have to watch it in its entirety. You can't have Cartoon Network air episode 7 one day, then air episode 4. People would be lost, and the fact that there are only 10 episodes consisting of 11 minutes each, they'd have to air 2 episodes to fill up a 30-minute time slot. After enough airings, you'd be watching the same episode over and over again. People would get bored and change channels. So on TV, Over the Garden Wall has no real presence anymore, simply because it's no longer airing. But what about its presence online? Surely there must be a devoted fanbase and active discussions all over the internet about this show, seeing how well liked it is, right? Hopefully by the tone of my voice, you've deduced that that is not the case. I'm gonna assume your next question is gonna be, why not? If this show is so good, so critically acclaimed as I've stated, why don't more people talk about it? When it comes to general discussion about its plot or characters or the show itself, they're few and far in between, because there's not much to talk about. Over the Garden Wall is a completed series. For the most part, there are no loose ends in the story, and nearly everyone was satisfied with the ending. Fans were content. But when everything's been so nicely concluded, there's not much left up to discussion. We know what happened, and there's not much ambiguity in the series, aside from some minor nitpicks or a few conspiracy theories people came up with. So where does that leave the series? Well, hopefully with the Emmy nomination, Cartoon Network could re-air the series in its entirety, win or lose. If not, maybe it'll become a once-a-year type deal. Most likely to have an encore presentation around Halloween. If you haven't watched Over the Garden Wall, I would highly recommend it. The show is available online on various sites, or you could get the DVD release, which will come with special bonus content, such as deleted animatics, commentary from the creators, and a composer's cut, which allows you to watch the series with only the music playing. And boy, is the music amazing. Or you could do whatever, I don't judge. And good luck on the Emmy, Mr. McHale. You definitely deserve it. Now if you don't mind, I think I'll take another trip over the garden wall.
Among the fields of straw and stover, clocked in till the work day's over. Time's a gentle stream